Hi, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here reporting for Boss Sports, where black men control the conversation. And one of the things I just love doing is getting a chance to talk to black men that are just doing great things, that have defied all these stereotypes that we see in media, and who are giving back to their community in a powerful and intelligent way. And one guy who's really at the top of the list is this brother that I'm excited to bring to you today. His name is Gemar Mills, and I want to call him Doctor Mills because I'm gonna go ahead and just put that on him. He's actually a PhD candidate at Seton Hall University. He's gonna have his PhD or EDD, excuse me, in May of 2015, and he's also the president, or excuse me, president, sorry, principal of Malcolm X Shabazz High School. And I was just telling this brother that his school really stands out to me because they are doing so many amazing things, and I just really wanted to kind of hear more about that. But before I begin, I want to ask my brother, Dr. Mills, how you doing today, man?
I'm all right. And yourself, man? I'm blessed. I'm happy to be here. I want to be continue to serve in the role as educator, as you know, a young role model too. People who look, sound like me have come up in similar ways and just try to give them that roadmap that I've constructed as my way out of the circumstances that I was in when I was their age.
Okay, so now, so you've led me into my first question. When you talk about the circumstances, tell me about your experience. Where were you born and raised? You're in Newark, right?
Yeah.
So you were born and raised in Newark or somewhere else?
Yeah. So no, I was actually born and raised in Patterson, New Jersey, third largest city in New Jersey. I grew up in the CCP projects, with notorious for gang violence, drugs, prostitution, the things that you would hear about some inner city projects. And I was there until they knocked them down. I was 17 years old when they finally did. And I was a part of that environment. I did a lot of things that I regret. I was injured on multiple occasions. I don't know if you can see it, but I had 400 stitches in my face just due to things that I was into. But I learned a lot through that struggle. And I think it was ultimately sports which saved my life. I got into football. I began to do well and progress. I always was a good student. By my junior year, I was able to get a decent score on the SAT, got a high GPA, and I got an opportunity, man, to actually play football in college. And once I was able to leave my environment, things began to change for me.
Now, where'd you play football?
Montclair State University.
Oh yeah, okay. Yeah. Now, what position did you play?
I played D tackle, D end, and some middle linebacker.
Oh yeah, okay. Well, that's impressive.
I
Very
was,
impressive.
pretty strong kid. Got a couple of honors while I was there, and I majored in mathematics, so that was my strongest subject. And I got a bachelor's of science in math before I went on to get my master's in education and leadership.
Interesting. And now, the way you and I met was I went to your high school, Malcolm X Shabazz High School in Newark, and I was so impressed. I mean, you guys had a collection of black men that just had their stuff together, and it's sad to say that I don't get a lot of opportunities to see black men leading things like this. But it's a fact. It's what we see. I mean, I really felt like I felt the same way I felt when I did an event with Minister Farrakhan at one point. It's great to see black men taking our natural role as leaders in our community, thought leaders, physical leaders, protectors, providers, etc., and educators as well. And one of the things I remember was one of the brothers who showed me around the city. He was telling me about Ray Rice and his connection to the community. Now, is that a strong connection? Is Ray Rice, is he of Newark, or what's the connection with Rice?
So Ray Rice actually is a graduate of Malcolm X Shabazz High School.
Really, I didn't know that. I didn't know that. Okay.
Now,
So,
are we talking about Ray Rice, the football player, or the politician?
oh, the football player.
Oh, okay. So then, no.
Sorry
Oh,
about that.
so yeah, no. He actually isn't much affiliated with the school. He has participated in some of the things that we've done on the football field while he was at Rutgers, but other than that, he hasn't been affiliated with us at all. He's doing great things on the football field. I know that he's had some major issues with the media and the things that have been come out about him. And I'm wishing well for that brother. I hope he can recover from it, and his family can recover from that. And help is pursued and given.
Yeah. Well, the reason I brought up Ray was, because I think that, well, for a couple reasons. One, I do remember the guy who showed us around. I wish I could remember the brother's name. I remember him telling me about some things Ray was doing just in the Newark community. And this was
Okay.
before this whole scandal happened. And I
Right, right.
remember thinking, wow, okay, this guy's involved, he's connected, I respect that. But you really didn't see much of that because it was overshadowed by the negativity
Exactly.
of that incident. But then also the reason I think I felt compelled to bring up Ray is, he is a Rutgers guy, he's a Jersey guy, and I think that what I see really is, when I see your image and what you project to the world, I see a contrast. I mean, here you are, you're also a football player and
Yeah,
a great
yeah,
athlete, just like Ray was. You're involved and you care about the community and young black men, just like Ray did. Ray deserves
yeah,
that credit, but yet when you talk about the image of which image of the black male is most projected to society, whether it
right,
is the intelligent scholar, strong black man who's turned around and made a high school great, versus the man who had one incident where he did something that he should not have done.
right,
That latter image is the one that is in mainstream media, and
right.
your image doesn't always get the respect it deserves. So that's why I brought up Ray,
Got you. No,
was
yeah.
to kind of say that, in a way, a lot of us are kind of in that same boat, of the same ilk, and maybe we have slight variations, but the way the media looks at us, where they choose to point that spotlight, is the consistent problem. So let me ask you this: you know, as a black man, you mentioned to me that you had some concerns about what happened with Michael Brown, what happened with Eric
Yeah,
Garner, and you
definitely.
actually got the young people at your high school involved in this in a real creative way. Can you tell me about that?
Yeah, so I mean, when I saw the verdict of Mike Brown, I was really outraged, and I remember going into work the next day. We do something called convocation every morning. So for 20 minutes, I have the floor to say something meaningful and powerful to the entire school building. And I went in that day, and I basically wanted them to understand, and I began with by saying that, I want to say that all black males aren't criminals, right? And that all our police officers aren't racist, right? But at the end of the day, okay, based on what I had heard, saw, read, and I know I'm not a lawyer, I didn't feel like the decision made by the grand jury was an accurate decision. And so, we got to talking about that, and I gave him some information on it, and something amazing happened after I finished speaking, right? The convocations was being dismissed, and the males in my school, and 60% of them are African American, they walk up to me. I'm sorry, yeah, the population males, definitely. They come to me and say, "Hey, Mr. Mills, what else can we do? How can we do something to support this? Should we walk out? Should we protest?" And I'm like, "No, I don't want you to walk out, but give me a second, and I'll begin to think of some things that I want to do." Probably I think it was a couple days later, or maybe even a week later, the Eric Garner decision came out, and at that point, I was just like, fearful. I was just, that was on film. The man was choked to death. He clearly said that he couldn't breathe. And for that decision to also leave someone not indicted, I begin to lose my faith in the justice system that I currently am under. And I also said, I have a son. That could have been my son. It could have been me. It could have been one of my students. And I begin to feel like, the black male is truly under attack in this situation. And I went in and I had that conversation with my students, and they came to me with more ideas. They said, can we do, a die-in, or can we do, our hands up, don't shoot? And I said, you know what? That's a great idea. I went, I spoke to my staff, and I was even more amazed at my staff because they were 100% behind it, right? And we decided that we were going to use social media as our avenue to participate in the protests and the injustice that we felt was being done by putting our hands up as the entire student body, 830 students, 75 teachers, right? Put our hands up and basically said, don't shoot because Black Lives Matter. And we feel that it is not right what is currently going on in America. And that's just the start. So I've come up with some more things, which we'll be doing. So, for example, in the coming week, we'll be giving the students actually tips, right, pamphlets and things like that on how to interact with officers to kind of mitigate these issues from happening if they should, right, to definitely keep your hands visible and also try to speak in a non-threatening manner in order to try and stop the situation that could occur. Because oftentimes in America, right, black males seem to be a threat to other races. It seems like we're moving forward and we're making changes, and then everyone is not necessarily making those same changes. So, and I think that's evident just in kind of how situations start, right? Black male, white male, maybe be the same level of tone and being irate, but the outcome is someone gets choked to death, and then another person may go to jail, or may not go to jail. They may be released. It all depends. But I just feel like it's not appropriate for another man to decide if you live or die. No one gave them that right. So educating our kids on how to deal with police. And then also my best friend, he happens to be a very successful lawyer in New Jersey. And he's actually going to come in during convocation and also speak to the students about their rights and things that can and can't occur while they are in a situation when dealing with police officers. And lastly, this is just the students. This is what they want to do. The video I put out was 15 seconds. There'll probably be 2 minutes. There'll be their testimony. There'll be staff testimony. And then they're also creating a song, in memory of the situations that have occurred, including Tamir Rice.
Okay, well, I love it. I love it, man. And I want to make sure. I definitely want to take this time to mention that you guys just won the first state championship in football in the school's history. Correct?
Yes, that's very, very true.
Man, that's got to be exciting.
Man, so I'm a football guy, right? And a lot of my story and my strategies have come out of football. Like, in terms of what I think saved me, right? It started there on the football field, taught me those leadership qualities. What I think turned around Shabazz High School was my just knowing that I needed to have the football team, the football coaches on board, because those same guys that run the football field are often the most popular, biggest, strongest students in the building. So having them on the team was perfect for beginning to lead by example and model behaviors that we expected to see. So for them to win the championship, me to be at all these football games and actually lose last year on that same football field to win, man, it is the most amazing feeling that you could ever have. I mean, everyone's talking about, I'm getting the jacket, I'm getting the ring, the city is behind us, they're doing a parade. It's just a beautiful day, I think, in Newark, because you hear, so many bad things. We got a group of 45 young men who have stood the test of time, have done the off-season workout, and now they are champions, man. We walk around the school today, it's first day back, and you just hear everybody, you're a champion. Congratulations, you're a champion. And you see these young black males, they're just like eating it up, and they're going to school. We have 18 seniors. One is committed to Temple already. Wagner came today. Stony Brook, Cincinnati has come, and they want these Miami. They're coming, and they want these athletes. And I appreciate, what dedication the kids put in, and ultimately it makes for a better Newark.
Well, it really does, and I think it's great. It's great for any place, but especially with Newark, because if we were to be real, we know that a lot of the news that comes out is not always favorable. But Newark is I live on the south side of Chicago, and Newark reminds me of the south side of Chicago in that it is a very rich environment, meaning you got a whole lot of good, you got a whole lot of bad, you got a whole lot of everything in between, right?
Yep.
You have the whole continuum, and it's deeply beautiful no matter what level it is. I mean, you can see the worst of the worst on the south side of Chicago, but you can see the best of the best. We got
Yeah.
Farrakhan over there and Barack Obama, and you know what I mean. So
Yeah.
so so Newark is kind of the same way. I mean, you guys just have I will say that of all the high schools I've visited, I can't think of a high school that's better than the one that you are the head of.
Thank you.
I'm so impressed with that. So in fact, actually, you've done some amazing things with this school over the last
Yeah.
few years. First of all, tell me how many years have you been there, and tell me about some of the achievements of the school. Since that time.
Okay. So I've been the principal for 4 years. I'm in my fourth year currently. Um, Before then, I was the vice principal for 1 year, and then before then, I was actually the chairperson of mathematics for 2 years. So I've actually went through three principals before getting an opportunity to be the principal. And I was young. I was 28. I was like, principal, like the community is like, you could do it. The students saying you could do it. I'm like, I don't know, because I saw, what has occurred. I mean, the news articles that said one news article compared us to Baghdad at that time. Yeah, and then another some other situations with the school was the state said that we should close down, right? That they recommended us to close it because the children had taken over the building. And so like I'm coming into this young administrator, but not a principal, and it's like, okay, well, what is he gonna do? Turns out, in less than 180 days, that 1 year, we went from 37% proficiency in language arts to 61%, and 17% in math to 31% in one school year. Yeah, it was just amazing. And then now, so the following year, it just keeps going. We're now up to 75% in language arts proficiency and 38% in mathematics. Our graduation rate has increased from 60% to 73%. And this is like something I'm truly proud of. I even put out a video with all the people who were actually all the young people who were accepted to four-year universities. It came from 23% of those students getting accepted to four-year universities. 50% of them are now being accepted to four-year universities, and they're not small time. And we had two full scholarships to Georgia Tech University, right? Fairleigh Dickinson. The University of South Carolina, a young lady went this last school year, right? We had Cincinnati, we had West Virginia. So they're going to some big time schools. And like, it's just amazing because I feel like the way you can begin to change the community is to create a thinking male or female that's going to go out and bring back their experiences to their family and now shift the paradigm of the way we think in the household. And that permeates throughout the community and people begin to see things different, right? And that's how we change inner cities because, though I work in Newark, I spend tons of time in Newark. But when it's time to come home at night, I still live in the city that I was raised in, because I think that it's important that I'm able to touch the people that I grew up with.
Interesting.
I'm sorry.
No, don't even worry about it, man. It happens to me all the time.
Okay.
Yeah. So I love that, man. I mean, I think that the strength of black male leadership, in your school, in your community, is quite admirable. And I see you. I'm tell you, man. When I saw, first of all, I'm not surprised that you were a young principal, and I think that you were just what the school needed. It sounds like. And I really see so many other things for you in the future. Not to say that Malcolm X Shabazz would not be in your future for a long
Right,
time.
right.
It could be that could be the direction, but I think whichever direction you choose, I just see you doing some great things, and I can sense that ambition. Am I right? You got
Yeah,
some
no,
big plans.
no,
I assume you
right.
do.
I mean, so I've had an opportunity to speak to masses of people. The state has actually brought me in to do presentations for the way in which I turned around Shabazz High School. Documentaries have been done about the work that we've done over there by some mainstream media. So I really want to begin, right, to take the model that I feel that I've built and test it in other places. So I've definitely worked with people who are on my administrative team, but actually been promoted to principal and shared my vision with them and work with them and seeing them have the same rapid success, right? And now I think that it's time that, it's, I don't know if it's time, I guess the guy will let me know when it's time, but I'm just saying, the Detroits, the Chicago's, the New Orleans, like any of these cities who have had turmoil in their education system and just felt like, we don't have the answer for the children and our dropout rate is higher than our graduation rate, right? That there's some things that can be done rapidly to begin to see hope, right? And that's the thing about our youth and adults. They love quick anecdotes. Like, it was bad today, it was good tomorrow. And I think that some of the strategies that I've implemented allow for that. Like, one thing is like huge for climate and culture. Collect cell phones. You collect cell phones and you eliminate communication to the outside world in the building. You can't call a family member and say you've been jumped. You can't spread a rumor. You can't be on Twitter. You can't go on Instagram. You can't go on Facebook. Therefore, your seat time is actually more engaging with the educator than with your cell phone. Like, that one thing was huge. And I think that is something that I would definitely recommend any principal out there that's trying to make a drastic change, because gangs are real, right? And when you have access to these type of things at your fingertips, it truly begins to create some issues that you can't resolve in a day. And you can have police officers out there, they're not afraid, right? Because I truly don't believe for 1 second that my success was built on them fearing me, right? It was all about them respecting me, because they're not afraid. They've been shot. Some have actually been incarcerated for doing shootings. So it's not about me and being this muscle bound hawk type of principal. It's really about them respecting my brain, them respecting what I do, and them knowing that I really care, I really love them, and I want to see them successful. And right there, like, the walls just drop.
Wow. Well, I love that. That's I mean, really, if you look at any creature in the animal kingdom, if you show you care about that creature, the creature will respond in kind, right?
Yeah,
If you pose yourself as a threat or try to dominate or intimidate, they're going to respond to that too, right?
yeah,
But if you in fact, it makes me think about there's another great black man similar to yourself, just a little older, in Louisville, Kentucky, by the name of
okay,
Kevin Cosby. He's the president of Simmons College, and I remember he said something that really makes a lot of sense. Very simple, but it's always accurate. He says that before you correct, you must connect. Right, and
yes,
you may have heard that
like,
other places, and it's true. If you show somebody that you care about them, they are usually going to be nice to you. They are going to respond to you and listen to you. But if they don't know you and think that you have your own agenda, then they're going to have their own agenda too. And
yeah,
I like that. I like the idea of connecting with love as opposed to anything else, because I imagine my argument is many of our kids, that's what they need. They need love. I just think that
I agree.
love is always more powerful than anger, hate, intimidation, and I respect you for that, man. I really do.
Thank you. Thank
Okay, man. Well, so I guess for the last question before I let you go back to your busy life, I know you got.
you.
I assume you don't sit around twiddling your thumbs. You run at a big high school.
Yeah.
Tell me, how many students are at Malcolm X Shabazz High School now?
We are now up to 830.
Wow.
So, oh yeah. I mean, there was a huge decline when the reputation and the unsafety situations were occurring. We were coming from like 1,000, and then you see 700. We got as low as 568, and the district was definitely threatening to, either consolidate other schools into the building, or even close that school down and redirect those children. But due to the accelerated success and the reputation has begun to shift within just 3 short years, we had an increase of 300 students this school year, and that was like amazing because we have what's called the choice process. That means the 40,000 students that attend Newark high schools are able to select the school in which they want to attend. There's magnet schools, there's comprehensive high schools, there's charter schools, there's all type of schools available to these children. And you know what? They chose Shabazz, and that's huge.
Man, I love it. I mean, your school it sounds like a cool place to go to school.
Yeah,
Number
man.
one, I mean, just the name. I mean, that's just such a great name. It's cool. It's black. It's
Yeah,
intelligent. It's strong. It's everything that the black community should want to be. I'm sure it's got its issues. Every place does,
yeah.
right? It's not
It's
not
teenagers.
perfect. Everything's a work in
Yep, yep, yep.
yeah, everything's a work in progress. The life of Boyce Watkins is a work in progress. But based on what I'm seeing, and this is the reason why I was so eager to get a chance to talk to you, is you are doing just an amazing job, and I encourage anybody watching to check you out. By the way, are you on social media, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, anywhere where people can find you?
Yeah, so and I said that earlier just in terms of what social media has become, at least for me, on Instagram, at Principal Mills. That's Principal with Pal. Principal is your pal. Remember that? Principal Mills, Mills. And it's the same on Twitter. It's the same on actually Facebook. I think you can find me under my first name, Jamar, Gemar, Mills. And then I also have a website where I've like consolidated a lot of the things that I've had opportunities to do, which kind of tell the story and allow people just familiarize themselves with me. And it's jamarmills.com. So they can check me out there.
All right. Well, I love it, man. I love it. I'm definitely going to check it out, man. I'm inspired by your work. And first, I want to say thank you so much for your time, brother. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome, man.
All
I
right.
appreciate you. And again, like you're definitely an inspiration to me and what you do. Your voice, the things that you fight for are definitely pointing our young men in the right direction. And the more people that we can have, like you, if I can one day be there, definitely see the shift that we're looking for going to begin to occur. Because I've always asked, who's going to come after Malcolm and Martin, and who are the next people who are going to continue this fight for equal rights? And I see that in you.
Well, thank
So
you.
definitely, just the stuff that you do is amazing.
Well, I appreciate those kind words, and I'll say we must be looking in the mirror because I see that with you, man. I'm seeing what you're doing, and really what I just love is I love this idea of black men just working together,
Yeah, yep, yep,
because our role. It's not about one or two people being the superstar. It's really about all of us.
exactly.
It's about all of us. Almost like a championship football team. You know what I
Yeah,
mean? Standing up, fighting to defend our community. And I think this is a transformative era for black men. I mean, you see all these people in the streets blocking traffic now. They're doing
yeah,
that because a black man lost his life, right?
yep,
And
yep.
that would be different if it were, say, a beautiful white woman or something like that, right? That's what
Right,
we're used to. We're not used to
right.
people responding to the value of a black man's life. And so my argument is that if everybody else can see the value of a black man's life, then black men must see the value of a black man's life. And so,
Yeah.
that's where my respect lies for you, man. Every single word you
Thank,
said toward me, it is reflected right back. And I just want to encourage you, brother. Please continue the great work. Thank you.
thank you. Thank
All right, and everybody who's watching, I want to say thank you so much for checking us out. This is Mr. Gemar Mills. You need to go look him up. He's a great young brother, just doing amazing things. And me, I'm Dr. Boyce Watkins, and I'm here for Boss Sports. You got to go check it out. Boss stands for Brothers on Sports and Society, and that is a platform where black men control the conversation. Nobody's going to be talking for us because we can talk for ourselves, except for Charles Barkley. I got an issue with him. But anyway, I'm going to quit.
you.
I'm going to quit. All right, we'll take care. God bless, and we're gone. Peace.